Greetings, sports fans. Welcome to the Cast 514. I am Nova Knife, and with me, as always, is my co-host Gridaris.
So today we're going to be talking about Planetary Conquest and Dust 5 and 4. And with us we have our very special guest,
If you
CCP
say it, I'm
Foxfour.
gonna kill you.
No, don't worry. I didn't say it, and
Okay.
we're not gonna actually say it during the thing. If people want to know, you're gonna have to do some investigative digging, but we shall not say
Socks 4.
Ah,
it. Nova! My hands are clean in this affair. I did nothing
uh-huh.
wrong.
You
Anyway,
planned
we,
this.
we have the illustrious CCP Foxfour,
You
who
even
is
just both said it. Anyways,
one
I'm
of the
sorry.
developers working on Planetary Conquest. What is your actual title with CCP? Programmer, senior programmer,
Oh God, no, not
code monkey?
senior.
Code
Um,
monkey?
no, I don't do any coding except for in my spare time when I'm just trying to work on my own skills. Uh, Technically, I think my internal title is content designer, but I'm currently doing game design. I'm part of the design department, and we handle content and game design. The title is a bit of a formality, but what I currently do is game design.
So CCP Soundwave is your lord and master.
Oh God, do I have to say yes to that?
No, you don't. You could just say
Yeah,
he's your boss.
he he's my sort of immediate work supervisor.
Okay,
I
okay.
guess.
So
Yeah.
it's not quite so feudal. Anyway, so lots of exciting stuff. Planetary Conquest is finally coming to Dust, and this is, I hope. Now, one of the big things I know Eve players have been asking for a very long time about Dust is why do we care? Is this where they start caring?
We hope so. Like that. Yeah, we hope so. It's I mean, the hardest part is how big do we start, and if we start really big and it's unbalanced, we're in a bit of a problem. But we hope we've started small enough and but not too small that they still care.
So,
Because
with this
yeah, go
system, is there going to be a way for Eve players to actually make money off of Dust people, or is this just strictly still going to be a Dust thing?
So this is Dust players holding districts, and anyone in that Dust corporation or the alliance that Dust corporation is in will get a bonus to certain things. We're currently aiming for it to be POS fuel reduction and a POS manufacturing speed bonus and a PI output bonus. So it is very possible, very, very possible for Eve players to make money off this. Uh, but there, it won't be like a direct transfer of money from Dust to Eve or Eve to Dust.
just
Interesting.
gonna turn the cash cow into an even bigger cash cow if you've got one set up.
I, yes and no. I mean, one of the really nice things about this is, like if you look at nullsec, one of the biggest bonuses for nullsec alliance outpost is manufacturing speed, so that they can build dreadnoughts, for example, quicker. Dreadnoughts take forever to build. So you already get a speed bonus from certain outposts in nullsec. We're just hoping to sort of add that bonus to lowsec and tie it to planetary conquest and dust.
So, would these POS bonuses be limited just to the planet that's above the district, or would it be system-wide?
It would be limited to the moons around the planet that the district is on.
So, number of moons around a planet is also going to play a big factor, not just the number of districts around a planet.
Yes, and the two aren't necessarily linked. So the number of districts on a planet is not necessarily relative to the number of moons. So you may end up with a planet that has plenty of moons but a few districts, or only a few moons and a lot of districts.
So, actual planetary conquest itself, getting into the nitty-gritty of it, for those who may not have read the dev blogs, and if you haven't read them, why not? In a nutshell, how does it work? You go to take these districts, you stick your flag down, and all this other wonderful stuff.
Yeah, so the basic gist of it is that, as you said, you stick your flag on a district and you claim the district for yourself. And every day it generates clones, and you can take those clones and you can sell them to make a little bit of money, or you can use them to attack another district. If you use them to attack another district, your objective is one of two things. Either, well, your objective is generally to win, but beyond the first victory, you may be looking to take that district to expand the number of districts you have. You don't necessarily have to. You could attack once, win, make some money just by winning, go home and you will have made the idea is that we want you to make more money by attacking and winning than sitting on the clones that you're generating. So you can attack and make money, or attack and conquer another district so you have more clones to do more attacks.
Sounds like fun. And basically, if you've got your territory and it's spitting out his clone, you're definitely going to want to keep attacking to actually get more ISK efficiency out of each clone.
Yes.
That is the whole thing. Now, how does this work with alliances? Because I know with one of the things you saw is that corporations have your things. How does it work with? Will you actually be able to work as an alliance rather than just a corporation with Planetary Conquest?
This is a really big unknown to us. Not how this will work. We know how this is technically going to work, but I guess the meta and the social interaction that Dust players are going to set up, we're not setting our expectations for Dust corporations and alliances being exactly the same concept in Dust as they are in Eve. You know, in Eve, you get a corporation, the corporations form alliances, and the alliances form coalitions, and each corporation sort of has its own identity. They're industrial corporations, they're this kind of corporation, and they generally build to this size, and there's all sorts of, you know, factors that go into that. We're not sure what we're going to see from Dust. Maybe Dust corporations will, on average, be a lot smaller, but we'll see a lot more of them forming alliances. Like, we're not sure where that dynamic is going to go. So we're allowing corporations to form, to be part of alliances, to sort of test the waters and see where you guys do take it. The actual Planetary Conquest interaction, though, is if there's two Dust corporations in an alliance, and you move clones from one of those corporations to another one, it will actually be an attack. So corporations in an alliance can attack each other. At the same time, though, you can take people, have them join your squad, and then join a match so people from your alliance can help you defend that aren't in your corporation, right? So we're sort of getting both sides of that into it, if that makes sense, hopefully.
Yep. Now, so in this current iteration, though, that means that you're not going to be able to, like, if you, as a corporation, have a massive surplus of clones that you just literally cannot get rid of because you can't fight battles fast enough, and one of the other corporations in your alliance is a bit short on clones, you can't actually give them any clones.
No.
No, so that would probably also mean you can't sell clones in the open market. You have to sell them back to Genelution. There's no other way to do it.
As it stands, Genelution will be the only corporation buying or selling to the players. You can sell to Genelution and you can buy from Genelution.
Yeah. But I assume that'd be something you'd want to do in the future, way into the future.
Yeah, way into the future, we'd like to see the same kind of market that Eve has, right? And so, like, all these things are just items that you can use or sell or trade or do whatever you want with. That's our end goal. But as I said, this is
starting small, starting simple.
Yeah, starting small. And we have all of our ideas about how we think this is going to work. At the same time, though, we know for a fact it's not going to go like that. You guys are going to do so many different things. We're just going to be like, yeah, okay, okay.
No, I remember you guys on the when they had the stream interview thing on, what was it, the second, or where you and Nullarbor were on the stream and the infamous thing happened.
Yeah. That was
you guys were basically saying you're just exploding with ideas and there's all these things you want to do, but it's a matter of, well, we've got them as ideas, but that's all we've got them at this stage because there is so much.
There's like, I mean, when you sit down and you think about it and you're like, okay, CCP has this first person shooter and they have this space submarine simulation thing. Like, they're in the same universe. How, like, there's so many ways, if you just think about it, to connect the games, and there's so many cool things to do, but it's like, where do you start? I mean, like, this is clearly the best thing to do, so do that. And then this is clearly the second best thing, so do that. So we're exploding with ideas and working on prioritizing them, and then just looking at how you guys use those things that we do implement and basing what we do next off of that.
Right, so while we're kind of peeking into the future here, do you guys have any ideas that you can talk about on going on for, like, district production and stuff? Will we have different types of districts making stuff different from clones?
So again, this comes down to what we end up prioritizing. There are a couple of limitations, the kind of self-imposed limitations, but CCP as a company is very, I mean, when you look at what we've done with Eve and you look at the fact that when you look at the stars, the stars actually line up with where the stars are, and the stargates shoot you towards the star you're going to. And we do things like that. And then you look at districts, right? And we have every district will have a different major outpost on it, right? There's at FanFest last year, there was a presentation called "Seeding the Universe," in which this was talked about a little bit. But when you choose an SI, it actually is going to change the buildings on the map. And there's one big building, and the big building is unique for every SI or surface infrastructure. And so we can add more, but we're kind of limited in terms of art resources as to how many we can add because we don't want to use the same one for different SIs. Because as I said, looking at Eve, we're really picky about this kind of stuff. So we're kind of semi-limited by that. But we're also limited by just looking at what the players are going to do with this and figuring out what to add next. Like, as I said, we have so many ideas for things we want to add. I don't know if I should say this, but like we were talking randomly about like how cool it would be to have like a Stargate that you build on a planet to link your districts if you have districts spread out all over the universe, right? Like crazy things like that that will probably not happen for a very long time if they ever do happen. But I mean, that gives you an idea of, yeah, we're thinking about a lot of crazy things that have nothing to do with clone production.
Would some of these happen to interact with, for example, off-map support? Like, would some of these SI structures be able to, say, provide artillery bonuses if one of your neighboring districts is being attacked on the same planet? Something like that?
But yeah, I mean, like, how cool would that be? One of the things we really focused on was making sure that people, when they look at a district, they know who owns it, right? There's an identity to it. This is the corporation. Here's their corporation logo type thing. But how cool is it to build something up, right? Not just I have one district here and I have a district way over there, but here's my collection of districts that are supporting each other with this bonus and that bonus. Like that's a really cool concept. We're nowhere near that yet. And in fact, our planets are really big. And again, our districts tend to map, like when you look at a planet and you see lights on the planet from like a city, those are where our districts are. And they're sort of spread out over the planet. So they're not necessarily actually right next to each other. They're actually spread out a lot. There's a lot of distance. Trying to sort that like problem out along with figuring out that district that you have over there is connected to this one. We don't really have that. If we thought it would be a really good benefit, maybe we would do it. But I think something better would just be like, you have another district on this planet. It gives you plus blah to your defenses of all districts on this planet. That kind of thing.
My head is exploding, which is the reason
Yeah, well,
why.
and you understand, like we're our heads are doing the same thing. Our heads are like just all over the place, and we're continuously like just turning around and talking to them and be like, dude, you know how cool it'd be if we did this or this? And just like in the middle of the day, we're like, oh my God, this would be so cool.
You guys
And
have a room that's just like covered in pieces of paper with ideas. It's like a dark room, and
we ran like the number of whiteboards that our company has and post-it notes. We love our post-it notes. Every meeting room has a bucket of post-it notes and pen, so they just end up getting spread everywhere. But whiteboards are so common in our office that we've just stopped buying them. We just bought a bucket of whiteboard type paint, and we just like that wall right there, make it a whiteboard, and we just like paint the wall, and we now have a giant whiteboard on the wall. And those have started cropping up all over the place.
and you still don't have enough space?
No, not even remotely.
No, so you're talking about before how you want to encourage people to make it so that it's more worthwhile your time to attack people rather than defend. But is there anything else that you guys are thinking of doing to make it even more enticing for you to go out and attack your neighbors rather than buddy with them?
Because someone else is paying you to? That'd be really
No,
cool.
no, because because somebody else is paying you to. That's always a valid reason to go attack somebody.
Right?
Why are you
Well,
punching me in the face? Somebody paid me to. Oh, keep
Yeah.
going.
Right? Exactly. For now, we want to focus like this is, and we've said this many times, and I mean you said it yourself earlier. Like this is very much the foundation of it, and giving whether we incentivize you to go attack more, like what we incentivize next or what we do next will very very much depend on how this goes after release.
All right, kind of expanding on that. Unless I've misread the blog, you have to actually hold a district if you want to attack another.
If you want it to be profitable, yes.
So you can just flat out attack them without holding anything, but that'll cost you money.
Yeah.
It's
So
like 80 million ISK for 150 clone pack, I think, the latest update, wasn't it?
yes, and those appear to be the numbers we're going to go with. It sounds really expensive, right? Like 80 million. Like how many people have 80 million ish? We we ran the numbers and we looked at all the corporations that have X number of people. And the thing to really keep in mind here is, look, these matches are going to be 16 versus 16. You have the potential to be attacked every day. If people really hated you, you could be attacked every day, once a day, every day, all week. So you need to be able to participate in Planetary Conquest. You need to be able to field at least 16 players a day. So the minimum number of players you need is not really 16. That would burn you out. You need more than 16 players, right? And so when you start getting to that number of people, even if you just said 20 people, right? 80 million ISK spread across 20 people isn't really that much, right? It's only 4 million ISK. And you have between now and May 6th to start putting that money together.
So we have groups in Eve right now who have absolutely no interest in nullsec sov, like Pandemic Legion. They pretty much just run around, they kill people, and then they go about their business. Will something like that be actually profitable or viable in Dust with the system as it goes in, or is that something that you'll be looking at later?
With the system as it goes in, no, not really. If you have a lot of money and you want to be, a mean person, uh, yeah, go for it. Spend your money, do it. But it's not going to be profitable to do it. And from what I've seen, Pandemic Legion started kind of caring about outposts so that they can ruin people's Game of Thrones. Don't go look at Dotland if you haven't read the books. But specifically about Planetary Conquest here, as it goes when we release it, no. And there's been a lot of discussion about this on the forums. Everyone's been like, well, what about that raiding playstyle where I don't want to own a district, but I want to be able to attack someone else's district and make money doing it. And there's a lot of potential exploits that kind of come up if we allow that. And I shouldn't necessarily even say exploit. The number of scenarios that crop up when we make that form of play style viable, the variables explode. And we just didn't really feel we had time to ensure we had a solid design to go out the door with including that play style. But I mean, once this is out the door, as I said, what we do next is we know kind of what we want to do next, right? Like we've been talking about what are we doing for the rest of this year and early next year. But what we actually do and what we're thinking about doing uh, will depend. I know I've said this and I can't say it enough. It will greatly depend on what you guys do with Planetary Conquest.
So this upcoming build is kind of like a mad science experiment.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, this is beta, and there is just so many changes going into this build. Not just Planetary Conquest, but I mean the star map, and there's so many things that I'm just shutting up because I don't want to say something that hasn't been announced. But it's just like, oh my god, it's amazing.
There's too many red dots appearing on your chest from the internal affairs snipers.
I got my windows closed. I got like my windows closed, soundproof room. I think I'm good.
You could, they have infrared vision, right?
Shit. Well, then I might
You know
not
what?
be good.
Just on the rating thing, for anybody that does think of that playstyle, I know this is just something I've thought of off the top of my head for that, in the way which you guys kind of have allowed it to do. If you can actually do that as a way of a mercenary type style, where you actually would fight for somebody else very easily, because like you said before, you can squad up with some other people who aren't in your corporation
Yep.
or even your alliance, I'm assuming from what you said, and you can bring them into a match. So
Yes.
technically, if you play it enough, the system enough, you could actually get a team that's just not the corporation that owns the district or is attacking the district.
Yeah. I mean, we're
So
not.
you can rent out like that as a raider, but you have to be working with somebody that does own territory.
Yeah, and there is very much the potential for a or multiple corporations to make a name for themselves as being, hey guys, we are the best at this game. We don't care to own a district, but if you give us a bunch of money, we'll come into your match and we'll help you save your district or we'll help you take a district. Like that potential exists. There's no official mechanics for setting up a contract for it, and so but there's no official way of setting up a like solid trade of a Titan and Eve, but people still do it. But like if that becomes a really big important thing, then maybe that's what we'll focus on next type thing,
You know what
right?
I want to
So
see now? That since you mentioned the whole Titans, which For
Oh
anybody that
no.
doesn't know, they basically work through third parties where you give a third party the ISK, you transfer the Titan, everything's all good. The third party releases the ISK. It's basically an escrow service. I want to see third party corporation contract scams where a corporation will go in and you'll give the money to a third party, a trusted,
You play
inverted
Eve, don't
commas.
you? You
Of
play
course I
Eve, don't
play
you?
Eve. A
Yeah.
trusted third party, inverted commas, and then they throw the match horribly because, of course, it's not their clones they're putting in the line, and they run off with the money. I want to see this. Somebody make
Oh
it
my God.
happen.
You know what? We're already getting really crazy stories out of Dust, and it's honestly it's the reason that I love this game and I love Eve so much is the players, you guys do amazingly crazy things, and we just sit back and we're like, man, I like what? It's great times.
I remember the first time, what was it? The first time I saw somebody posting on the forum saying that one of their directors had run off with the corp wallet.
Yes, I
The third
know.
post in was CCP Indelible saying, "This is amazing. Welcome to
Well,
Eve.
I think he
Welcome
said
to
welcome
Dust,
to New
actually."
Eden. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
welcome
I
to
think he said
Eden, because that's what the name for the whole place. Both of them
yeah.
combined.
So yeah, I remember that post. That Nullarbor was very proud of himself. The office was very proud of him too. We were like, man, well done, well done. You got it.
Now, before we asked about transferring clones between corporations and things like that, but what about districts themselves? Is there going to be any mechanism to transfer their ownership in the initial build of Planetary Conquest, or is that going to be? Because I know one way in which you could do it that's very risky, actually, is move all your clones off, and then very quickly they put their clones down.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
pretty much.
one way you could do it. But is there any? There's not going to be a formal way. Is there going to be a formal way to do it, or is that something to
Well,
come
I
later?
mean, the other way to do it would be like purposely lose as the defender and have the attacker attack. Like that would be another way.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it'd be a
it's
little bit
not
expensive in clone
it
costs, though.
be a little bit more expensive, but not actually technically a whole. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because to move your clones away, you'd have to pay the
Hmm.
move cost of minimum 3 million ISK, and every clone killed in combat is worth 80% of the sell value. So either I think you'd be better off just selling all of your clones from the district, or just losing them in a fight, because then you're safe. Your district is safer, like from someone else's attack. Yeah, actually, holy crap, huh? Interesting.
Because as the attacker, you only steal you can't steal any of the clones that have there as excess. You only steal the being produced clones. How
Yeah,
much is
but if
hold on, with the clone cell thing, another thing I didn't actually double check that actually I was wondering about at the moment. It may have been covered on one of the blogs. Can you actually sell clones manually now, or is it still you can only sell them when it gets to maximum
yeah, you
capacity?
can sell them anytime you want.
So you can sell them at any time you
I
want
shouldn't
now.
say anytime you want. If your district is
Nearly any.
unlocked, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
If your district is not under attack and you haven't recently made an action to it, you can sell the clones from it just willy nilly. But
All right. So,
yeah, actually, you might be better to like attack your own district and purposely lose all of the defending clones because you get 80% of their value and you didn't leave your district vulnerable for attack by anyone. Huh. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Interesting. Many
yes, we'll
neckbeards will be stroked later, I
See,
assume.
like
many,
this is the
many
kind of
neckbeards
thing.
will be stroked, and many spreadsheets will be updated because I have actually seen spreadsheets relating to Planetary Conquest already.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt about that.
Like the
But like, I
spreadsheets,
mean,
they're just beautiful.
yeah, I mean, but this is the kind of thing that like, you guys, our players, are going to just think of so many more ways. Like we've given you a simple set of tools, and we know they interact like this, and this, and it's gonna go live, and you'll be like, oh, but we can do this, and we can do this, and this, and the list is just gonna go on, and we're gonna be like,
And then
we
suddenly the
totally
entire
knew that.
region is on fire.
Yeah, no, man, we totally knew all of that. We totally knew it. We knew exactly what you guys were gonna do. We got this covered. No, it's gonna be fun. The week after launch is gonna be entertaining.
I think the day after launch is going to be entertaining, especially since, and I know I probably shouldn't say this because a lot of people probably aren't going to realize that even though you hinted at it in one of your posts on the forums somewhere, or even maybe even in the dev blog, but one of the things to keep in mind that on D-Day, at the initial rush to grab things, your initial reinforcement timer depends on when you actually plant your flag, which
No,
means
it
that if
doesn't.
you, no,
No,
it
it doesn't.
doesn't.
No,
No,
no, no.
no.
Uh, all of, we're kind of, we did this on purpose, and so one of the things is that when we seed all the districts, we're seeding them all with a random SI or service infrastructure and with a random reinforcement time. So they will all have reinforcement times, completely randomized. So like we're not picking them. It'll be random. We might go through and see if there's any problem. Like I shouldn't say might. We will go through and make sure there's no problems. But yeah, it will all be randomized. And when you take a district, so it's an empty district, and you buy some clones and you plant them on that empty district, it immediately becomes yours. Like, the flag is planted, it's yours. But the district is locked, so you can't change the reinforcement timer. Like, you can't. So when you're looking on D-Day, as you have put it, or May 6th, and you're like, okay, I want that district, and that district. You've got to be picking districts that have reinforcement timers that you're comfortable with fighting in, because there's a very good chance someone's going to come along and attack you, and you're going to have to defend during that reinforcement time.
But those reinforcement times, will they be visible beforehand or?
Yes. So when you're looking at a district, you will always see the number of clones it has, the surface infrastructure, who owns it, and its reinforcement timer. So you will always see all that information.
And these would be presumably features of this really cool new star map we're getting?
Yeah, yes, yes.
I have heard many people speaking of this amazing, super wonderful star map, and I'm looking forward to very much seeing it.
FanFest. I highly recommend the
Yes.
HD stream because
No,
you
no.
want to see this in all its prettiness, or come to FanFest.
Well, I was
Coming to
going to
FanFest.
say I'm not going to worry about the HC stream because I am coming, and don't worry,
Yeah,
I will. I won't bring an extra pair of something
Pink
for you.
socks.
Nova. I'm sorry,
no,
he's not
what?
subtle at all.
What? No, no. Oh,
Nova is
damn
not
it.
subtle in the slightest. So yeah, lots of fun stuff to come in. And like, to be honest though, if you're not coming to FanFest, which many people aren't, because they actually literally sold out of tickets this year.
It's the first year it's the first year we've sold out of tickets, and we had more tickets available than ever before.
What is it,
And the
1,500
pub
or
crawl,
something?
yeah, I don't know the exact number. And the pub crawl, I've been told, is more people on it than have ever been on it before. They were like they were like sending out emails. We need more people for we need more devs for the pub crawl. We need more devs. Like people, we need more devs. Apparently, a lot of people signed up for the pub crawl this year.
Are you going?
Sacrifice your
Are we
livers.
going to be able to finally drink the entire island dry? Because I know
Man,
sometimes in the past individual bars have been drunk dry by FanFest, but the island, are we aiming for that this year?
I don't know if that's possible. This island has a lot of alcohol, man. Oh
There's
my
a lot
gosh.
of there's a lot of internet spaceship nerds descending upon Iceland though.
There are more than ever before. Um, so I don't know. Like this is a little off topic, but I heard a story last year at FanFest, and last year I was only a player, but I heard a story at FanFest last year from one of the devs, and it basically went something along the lines of, "You guys showed up at a bar." And this was the dev talking to players during one of the presentations, and they were like, "You guys showed up at a bar and you drank them dry, like it was like Wednesday night, and they're out of alcohol. So the owner of the bar says, okay, I'll order my entire weekend stock and I'll get it here for Thursday night. You guys can all come back tomorrow night. There'll be plenty of alcohol. Thursday night rolls around and he's like, I'm out again. And his entire weekend stock, like, so he has his entire weekend stock. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like all of it. And it's gone on Thursday. And he's like, what am I to do? So orders up a whole bunch more beer. And like Friday, we ruined him again.
Yeah, like as Eve players, for anybody that, well, Eve players have done this on numerous occasions in the past for anybody that doesn't know. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do this year, especially since we've got a couple of Dust players. I don't think there are too many Dust players heading to FanFest, unfortunately. We need more of you to come next year,
I,
obviously, because you can't come this
I
year
was
now.
thinking the same thing, but then every time I look over to any like IRC or Twitter or something, I'm hearing more and more Dust players are coming. I'm like, how many of you people are coming? I honestly
The
don't
game
know.
isn't even released yet.
Yeah, well, I
We're
mean,
not out of date, I'd say.
yeah, no, we're not, and it's really awesome to see. I mean, FanFest is really amazing. We have Eve players that show up that haven't played the game in 3 years, but they still show up because the community is just that awesome. Like, why would I not show up to FanFest? Like, it's FanFest, but they haven't played the game in like 3 years or 4 years, but they still come to FanFest.
Yes, a word to the wise for anyone who can't actually make it though, get the HD stream. It
Yes, get it.
if you play Eve, just spend a Plex on it. If you don't, spend the $20 because you get pink scout suits and they are amazing.
Oh,
Um,
wait, you're so silly.
if you play Eve, I haven't done I haven't done the math on it in a while. I haven't checked the prices, but we give you a pirate
Yeah,
faction rookie ship and a shirt. Actually, we give you two shirts.
two
We give you a
shirts.
male
Yeah, one for
and
the female, one
female shirt.
male.
Yeah,
So you
and the pirate.
probably break
You can
about even on a Plex.
yeah, you can like sell all three of those items for like the cost of a Plex, and have spent the Plex. So you spend the initial ASIC on a Plex, get the HD stream, get these items, sell the items, and you're basically even again. I was like, what?
Plus pink suits.
Yes, plus
Plus you
pink
get
suits for your
pink suits
yeah,
and
fluffy pink suits
wow,
for your but
oh
dust
wow,
listener.
we
Suits
have
may not
pink
actually be
suits.
fluffy.
That's-
It's Quaif. What do you expect?
I kind of expected yellow because the shirts are yellow this year.
Well, the shirts were red last year.
They were red last year and then
They were red
blue the
last
year
year,
before
blue the
that.
year before that, and
Yeah.
blue is the actual Quaif color.
Yes, yes, it is.
No,
Pink is slightly more appropriate because everyone knows that Quaif is made from people juice.
Quaif is people.
It's the space equivalent of Soylent Green.
It
What
is.
is wrong with you people?
It's
What?
true. Read
It's
the lore.
true.
I
Read,
really
yeah,
want
read
to.
it up.
Wow. Okay.
Walk over to CCP Falcon or CCP Turn or CCP Abraxas or CCP Gananton and ask them what Quaif is made out of, and they'll tell you it's made of people.
So speaking of that, like that kind of thing, I was when we were doing this planning and design work for Planetary Conquest, and we are talking about the clones and whatnot, and we're like, someone questioned. They came up to us and they're like, why would Genelution buy clones? Like, what the hell are they going to do with them aside from sell them back to Dust players? Like they should probably have a reason for this. I was like, what do you mean they should? They already do. And like, what are you talking about? I was like, here, look at this look at the eveonline.com website and you look up the technical articles. And these date back to the launch of Eve. And there's an article about clones and they actually go so far as I think, if I remember correctly, they list prices for clone biomass depending on its state, whether it's completely been destroyed in some accident or if it's a perfect health clone. And like, here's the different corporations that buy clones, and like, here's their market share on, like, we did it. Like, this came out with this was there when we launched the game. It was quite entertaining, like the depth that was already there.
I have read this article actually, now that you mention it, and yes, I do remember what you're talking about. I think it probably is in need of a little bit of an update, at least with the market share,
Maybe, yeah.
because
But
I'm
like
sure that may have changed. But yeah,
yeah. But I mean, like the fact that that already existed is just kind of I don't know, it kind of blew my mind.
there is for anybody. I mean, I'm heavily involved in live events and such, so I've probably read into a lot of these things. Like there is a massive for anybody getting into Dust. There's a massive, absolutely, completely massive wealth of background and lore and all sorts of other wonderful things for Eve that also carries over into Dust because both are in New Eden. And I really, really heavily recommend that you actually go through some of the stuff. If you go to the Eve Online wiki, and it's all through the fiction portal, and it's just a lot of things actually make more sense once you know these things. And I know there's been a lot of attempts to try and get. Actually, recently, you guys released a timeline that actually
We
helps
did.
chronicle some of these events in
Com?
eve.com.
I can't believe we got that domain name, man.
Yeah, that's actually quite amazing to get that domain name. It's pretty good too. No, but the timeline, they've just released it and they're adding more stuff to it as time goes on. There's a couple of blank spots that I've gone and poked Torfy and said, you're missing a couple of things here.
There's a
But
couple of blanks. Like it's the first
they're
iteration of
working
it.
on it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a couple of things where one article like we tell you that the Eve Gate opened and that the Amar Empire rose out of the collapse of the Eve Gate, and we don't tell you the Eve Gate collapsed in the timeline. So I mean, there's a couple of things like that. But it's a great start to it, and I can't wait to see us expand upon it and do some
I
really cool
heavily,
things.
I really heavily recommend that everybody out there, especially if you're not familiar with the backstory, goes and gives it a quick look. It won't take long, but it will just make so many things click into place and give you, and it just makes it that much easier to understand the world of New Eden.
I mean, there's so the story team we have and the guys that deal with the story are so passionate about this stuff. The chronicles that we have give you so much insight into the universe. It's amazing. And there's so many of them now. Like I've been reading them since the game came out. I can't imagine starting now and looking back at all those chronicles and being like, I need to read these, but there's so many.
Yeah, I started even 2009 and I still experienced archive panic. I mean, let alone now. Not to
Yeah.
mention, you've got 3 books to read.
Yeah.
Yes, there's
If you're a Dust player, you don't even like if you're a Dust player and you know a little bit about Eve, Templar One, which is the newest novel that we have out, it gives you some really good insight into Dust and what's going on in Dust. And
And
it's
what's going
amazing.
on now, actually, especially with the well, recently at least, with all the clones that they tried to kill.
Yeah. If you're paying attention to the live events and the stories there, it, if you're not and you want to pay attention to like sort of current events in the lore, this is Eve's like these are Eve specific feeds, but they talk. There's a lot of live events, especially right now coming up to Uprising. They're dealing with dust. If you go to community.eveonline.com, there's an RSS feed section, and one of the RSS feeds is Game World. I think it's called Game World News,
It's
is what it's
World News.
typed.
They've redesigned the site a bit, and so if you just go to news feeds and then just go World News, that should give you everything you need.
Yeah. If you just look at and if you want the RSS feeds are there as well. But like they talk, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and again, not all of it is Dust relevant, but there's some Dust relevant stuff in there. Talking about clones, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's some good stuff going on over there. Those guys are really really doing a good job. But that's not my area of the game, so.
on the first day, it's going to be like a massive land grab for territory. Um, but because of all the timers and stuff, how is that going to work with people being able to attack each other? Like, will people be able to attack each other right away, or will they have
So
to wait?
uh, so I'm just trying to figure out the best way to phrase this. But basically, if you've taken a district, you can take as many districts as you want. I should say as many districts as you have 80 million is to do that with, right? It'll be 80 million is to buy a package of clones. You plop those down in any unknown district and take as many as you want, keeping in mind, of course, the surface infrastructure that's on them and the reinforcement timer that's already set. So, uh, and this is one of those things that we're really not sure about. We're not sure how confident players are going to be. Are they going to is some really big corporation going to be so confident that they come along and just be like, you know what, I'm going to take 100 districts just because we have enough ISK to do it, and why not? But they're going to be if they're unless they're taking districts across all the time zones, they're going to be spread out. So even if somehow miraculously they end up holding all of those districts, they're now so far spread out that moving clones to reinforce each other, like that becomes a problem. So, like, how confident are players going to be in spreading themselves out? Right? I mean, you can take a district. You select your first district, right? Reinforcement timer looks good. It's got a good SI for me. That's the one I want. I'm going to take that. Do you take districts right beside it because it's cheap to reinforce them, but the reinforcement timer is no good? Do you go a little bit further for a better reinforcement timer, but it's more costly to reinforce between each other? Like there's a lot to balance there, and so it's going to get really interesting on day one. So you can take as I said, you can take as many districts as you have money to take. Once you've taken the district, though, the district is locked. So you're not going to be able to, from one of those districts you've taken, launch an attack. If someone else has already taken a district, though, right beside you, you could spend money on a starter pack and launch an attack on that district. So you can both take empty districts and launch attacks, but the attacks you're launching on day one are going to have to come from the clone packages that you buy. So they're going to be kind of costly attacks, but you can. Those attacks, of course, are not going to happen on day one. They're going to happen a little ways into the future, but you can launch them on day one.
So, with the current time stuff that we've seen on the blog, the minimum for attacking after day one will be 24 hours later, and a maximum of 48 hours later?
Day one's actually a little bit trickier than that because of how the system works. Technically, on the back end, is actually going to be the times are going to be a little bit further out than that. You're more looking at uh, May 6th, May 6th, yeah, May 6th. Shit, I was just about to say April 6th because May 6th was clearly wrong. But no, May 6th is the correct day. I should phrase this first with, um, I do plan on putting either another dev blog or gargantuan forum post or something with some pictures and some more descriptions to follow this up because there's absolutely no way I can explain this in a clear, concise way without pictures because it's really weird. But day one, I'm just gonna say is not day one is special because the districts are unowned. Unowned districts act slightly a little bit different um, to just because of the way things work technically. So I will I will have something out before Planetary Conquest goes live because well I'm all a fan of you guys figuring things out for yourselves and whatnot. I think it's really stupid if you're investing this money and things don't work the way you expect them to. And I'm well aware that our in-game UI is not going to you're going to get different results than you maybe expect. And so I really want you guys to understand what's going on. So I can't promise you when or in what form it will take place, but somehow I will do my very best to make sure that uh, there's some kind of documentation or like overview of exactly how this stuff will work. So day one, there's no surprises.
So, just to quickly clarify, on day one, if, say, Gridaris and his corporation were to take a district, I could, with my corp, then be a jerk and schedule an attack, but when that attack took place would be a little iffy.
Yeah, and when that attack takes place will actually so based on how all the documentation and dev blogs I've shared with you, what you would expect is that so May 6th, Gridaris takes a district. That district has a reinforcement timer of 1300, right? And just I want to be very clear. I have no idea what the server uptimes are going to be. I'm just using random numbers off the top of my head. We're good with that. I can do that. No one's going to freak
Yep,
out.
go for it.
Yeah,
Okay. So
speculation is awesome.
yeah, exactly. So servers come up at 10 a.m. because that's so unrealistic that if anyone believes it, we're good. So servers come up at 10 a.m. Gridaris sees a district with a reinforcement time of 1300, and he thinks that's perfect for me and my corporation. So he spends 80 million ISK and takes that district with a reinforcement time of 1300. Based on all the documentation that, as I said, has been released so far, what you would expect is that if I launch an attack so servers came up at 10, Gridaris took that district, and then Nova Knife comes along with his corporation, and he's like, you know what? There's a whole bunch of other districts I could take, but that's Gridaris' district, so I'm attacking that. And at 11, Nova buys another package of clones and attacks Gridaris district. So what you would expect is that a minimum of 24 hours and then the next timer. So what you would expect then is that Tuesday at 1300 there would be a battle. On May 7th, you would expect a battle at 1300, right? That's the documentation we've released so far. That's kind of what you would expect. What's actually going to happen is that battle would happen on Wednesday the 8th at 1300, or in that 1300 to 1400 hour. And that's just because of the way that it works technically. And as I said, I'm going to try and get something out for you guys. That first reinforcement timer on Monday doesn't actually technically exist. Like it doesn't actually happen. So you're not going to get clones at 1300 on Monday. It's not going to be that first, minimum 24 hour. Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so like the short story is you can attack on day one, but the fight won't happen as you would normally expect.
No,
So like
so
long story is it's complicated.
yeah, it's really complicated. I'm going to try and get something out for you guys. Yeah, TLDR, add 1 day to all your expectations for when attacks will happen on day one.
There's no Monday reinforcement.
Pretty much. So yeah, battle. We expect if you're attacking a district, most of them will happen Wednesday and Thursday is when battles will start happening.
Good.
Now, for anybody coming to FanFest, what should we bring in order to receive your blessing and thus information on upcoming features? What should we bribe you with? Just for anybody who's going to FanFest, like for instance myself.
This is your personal bribe Foxfour time. Use it wisely.
Uh, I so I'm gonna be a good employee and not ever share any secrets I'm not supposed to share because I'm a good employee, and I would never do that. Uh, that being said, I honestly like, dude, just you guys showing up at FanFest is just gonna be awesome. You don't need to bring anything. You don't need to bring me anything. You
So,
especially don't need to bring me.
Yeah, you're getting
yes,
pink
things.
socks. It's gonna
No,
happen.
So I'm not going to go through with somebody's suggestion from IRC and bring you slippers.
you're not. Hey,
I'm not.
no, of course not.
Pink,
Okay.
fluffy, knee-high socks.
Oh my God.
Nova, you are an evil, evil man.
And you're not.
And I'm just okay, I'm evil, but I'm playing evil. He's just crazy evil.
Okay. Yeah, no, honestly, don't you guys don't need to bring me anything. Just show up, come hang out at the pub crawl, come hang out at FanFest, and eat outside the, you know what, outside the pub crawl, just hang out in downtown Reykjavik with the devs and chill, hang out, chat. It's honestly why we make this game is because of the community, and hanging out with you guys is so much fun.
Did you know that somebody's actually made a spreadsheet version of Dust Fitting Tools?
I saw that and it blew my mind because there's no like static data export for Dust. So he input all those
No,
numbers. He
that's
input
crazy.
all of those numbers. I was like, you done what?
You have too much time on your hands. That's one of the few things that has stopped me from sitting down and going, okay, I'm going to make a dust fitting tool. Just the sheer amount of time you'd have to spend entering every single number.
No, you know what? He's already done it. Just like take his
He
Excel
has.
sheet, convert it to a data. You're good to go, man. Like there's a lot of I saw some people like making fun of him for having no time, but I mean, having no time or no
This
life.
is
And I was like, you
this
know
guy.
what, man?
If he keeps doing what he does, then he's going to be getting into the same kind of good books as the guy who made EFT or
Yeah, and
Python.
like I mean, this is the same thing. Like I was like, you know what? He spent a lot of time doing that, and I've spent even more time doing things for Eve before I was like, yeah, no, I've done the same thing. That guy is pro. And I'm right there with him. That is so. I believe a turn even stickied it because it was that amazing. So it's
Yeah, I
sticky.
think so actually.
If you haven't seen it,
Double check. I have.
Yeah,
Yes, if
it
you
has
haven't
been
seen it,
stickied.
yeah,
yeah,
go
it should
check it
still be
out.
sticky.
It's
It's in the
great.
general discussion of the Dust forums, and it's titled like Dust Fitting Tool, and
Yeah.
it's a Google Docs Excel sheet. You you can copy it with like one button through Google Docs. It'll copy it to your own Google Doc uh, storage, and then you start playing with it. And the guy has put all the numbers in. It's really simple to use and understand, and it's just if I could donate this to the guy, I would. But
Okay, well, instead, everybody else should donate a disc.
I'm so poor in Dust. Uh, if I had access to my Eve funds, that'd be a different story.
No, no, no. Although, funnily enough, actually, an interesting question I have there is, well, with all the boosts you're going to be giving to Eve from Dust, is there going to be any way for some of that to trickle back to Dust with this? Like, for example, if your corporation also holds the Poco in orbit, do you get a cut of the taxes? Because
Not
I know
with
the
Upland.
corporation itself gets it into its wallet, but into the Dust one, because I believe that the Dust wallet is actually like a hidden division of the regular corporation wallet. I think
You
no one knows
don't.
what's going on with
You
that
don't.
one.
Yeah, you don't see it in Eve. You see it in Dust. Like it is a separate wallet division, and we call it the mercenary wallet. Um, so I'd be really interested. People can poke me on IRC or Twitter or uh, mailing game or whatever. I'd be really interested to know what you guys think about the fact that we've called it mercenary wallet. There's been some complaints that it's not called the master wallet but then if we had a master wallet in Dust, we'd have a master wallet in Dust in Eve. So I think like I just want to keep it called like the mercenary wallet. and it'll be a
I think
mercenary
CCP
corporation.
needs to sit down and come up with like a better name because you have Eve players. They're called capsuleers because they have a capsule. But so far, all the Dust players are basically called mercenaries, but it's kind of a term that you can very easily apply to Eve because you have, well, mercenaries in there who shoot people for profit and your money. I think, I'd love for you guys or even the community to come up with. I know we have bunnies, but I
That's
don't think you
like
can
that.
really
Nah.
take it. No, you can't use it as an official term. It just doesn't quite seem
Well,
threatening enough.
we could try. The story team and whatnot would come and murder us.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I think this is probably something for the story team, especially to try and work on because it's kind of it just doesn't have the same oomph as like saying Capsulaire. That's something really unique to EVE
Mercenary doesn't do
Online.
that.
Mercenary
Okay.
doesn't do that because you can have a mercenary in lots of other contexts.
Mercenary has
Captain,
always
it's
made
like
sense to me. I was like, that's perfect.
even
Huh.
Egg is very iconic. I mean, where are you going to have an Egger in a different game? For anybody who doesn't know what Egger is basically a reference to the fact that the capsule kind of looks like an egg, and it's in universe considered derogatory,
Kind of, just a little bit.
just a little
Um,
bit.
okay. Well, I highly suggest you bring all those concerns to FanFest and talk to the story team there because they'll be there. But going back to your question about the Poco and the Dust players getting benefits from it and whatnot, it honestly, dude, comes straight back to prioritizing what we do next based on what needs to be done based on what you guys do. If you guys go around and break everything about Planetary Conquest and we have to like spend all our time rebuilding it, or I shouldn't say rebuilding it, but fixing it,
Fixing it.
yeah, then that's kind of gonna like making sure we have a good foundation is our top priority. And we've left a lot of room in our schedule to I shouldn't not necessarily room, but we know like if we need to spend a lot of time fixing, this is the stuff that we're thinking of doing that we don't do because we're spending time fixing instead. And that
Bring out
like
the
it's
fires.
yeah, it's in my opinion, it's really really good that we've not just said, okay, we know we're gonna need to spend some time going back and ensuring we have a good foundation, but that we're giving time to see what happens, and we've actually said, okay, we know we can spend as much time as we need to fix Planetary Conquest and bring it up to a good state. And just these are the things that we won't do if we're doing that. And so it's just so good to have that in your head and know like this is the plan. Like to have a plan is good.
I guess it also depends on whether or not CCP Nothing has a heart attack or not when you try and add that extra ISK income to the game.
Yeah.
I guess we
We're
have to see if what he says as well. I think we're
well, I
hoping to
mean,
get him on the next episode after this, so maybe we'll ask him
yeah,
then,
it's
if not FanFest.
yeah, it's not even like so much that he'd have a heart attack because we wouldn't do any of this without talk. Like anytime it comes to anything like that, we're in real good communication with the Shanghai office, which is where he's at, and always talking about this stuff. We do our very best to not just throw random things out there that will ruin what others on the project have been doing without talking to them. We try real hard.
You try. And by the way, if you are looking around general discussion on the Dust forums for that fitting tool, it's not actually under general discussion, it's under My Dust 514.
Oh, did they move it?
It must have moved it because that's where it is now. It's sticky
Ah,
there, but it's there now.
it is sticky there. No, okay, cool. As long as it's still there. As
It's
long as it's
there,
still there.
but yes, definitely look at it.
Oh man, the guy's like still making updates to it.
Oh
Like
yeah, this is I
April
can.
6th. Yeah, man.
I reckon the moment you guys do a static data dump, or even sooner than that, he'll probably work with somebody else to turn this into a standalone application. And then we'll have
So,
to run EveMon and EFT and Dust Fitting Tool and goodness knows whatever else. Yes, saved fittings
oh
and
my,
import saved
what?
fittings from another spreadsheet and character skills.
What?
Yeah,
He added saved fittings.
yeah.
Oh, the, wow. This guy's
Give the
insane. I approve
everybody
so
give
much.
this guy a risk. Hydroslav. Give
Oh,
him your risk.
he added used and total CPU and power grid. Those graphs weren't there last time I looked at it. I must have looked at it a while ago. Reset loads. What? Wow. That's amazing. Spreadsheets can do crazy stuff, man.
This is why the Playbase loves them so much. I remember back when I used to be a mining manager. Oh god, that was so long ago, and I feel terrible even thinking about it. Dirty, filthy miners. No, they're not that bad. No, it was interesting having so many spreadsheets and trying to do all these things. But yes, spreadsheets are amazing, and Dust is, I guess, slowly learning this.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get you guys all up to spreadsheets. We'll get you going.
Does this mean that you're gonna have to probably make some kind of spreadsheet application for the PS3 as a add-on to Dust 5 and
Oh,
4?
you heard it here first. They're getting rid of the FPS UI and making Dust an entirely PvP spreadsheet game.
Nice. To be honest, I kind of hate the term that Eve is this spreadsheets in space thing, just because uh, it is what it is, whatever you make it out to be. And some people like to use Excel sheets. Some people like to write their own programs in Python or C, and some people just don't use it all. Like it is whatever. It doesn't have to be spreadsheets, and so
I know
it's
many a person
funny.
that will just dive headfirst into Rifter into a large group of enemy ships
Yeah,
and have lots
I'll
of
do
fun.
that. That's the kind of thing I'll do. Like the number of times when I was FCing fleets in Eve that have been like, "Okay, guys, this is a terrible plan. We're all gonna die," and I tell them this after I hit fleet warp, and they're all like, "You done what now?" I was like, "Don't worry, guys. We're all gonna die."
If anybody gets home in their pod, then we're doing it wrong.
Yeah, yeah. If someone gets back in their ship, like we've done wrong, like something didn't work out. Like you're all supposed to be dead.
No, so more, but hopefully we'll see more stuff from the community like that. Like maybe eventually when we get Crest and all that wonderful stuff, which I'm sure we'll hear all about at FanFest.
Not commenting on Crest just because it's not something I work on, but like as a player, like as someone who plays the game, I'm so excited for it.
There's actually, for anybody that is wondering about that, there was a post on the EVE Online forums about the events coming up related to that and the dev track stuff at FanFest. So you might want to go have a look for that on the EVE forums by CCP Seagull.
As I quickly open up the E forums on my other screen, that's probably under the technology lab. Right.
They're under forum announcements.
Dev track, no, it's under the tech lab, Eve Technology Lab. Dev track
Yeah,
at FanFest 2013, CCP Seagull.
yes, lots of other fun stuff there.
Ah,
So anyway,
that's
for
entirely not dust related. I apologize. We're a little sidetracked, but
no,
man,
no,
I can't.
no. I mean, Crest is very much related to Dust. I mean, Dust itself is in many ways only possible because of Crest.
This is
And
very true.
I think one of the things somebody was saying, maybe don't remember who exactly, but was basically saying we're going to make Dust, and we thought to ourselves, we're going to make all these things and these extra ways to get into Eve to make Dust work. So why don't we just allow the players to do it as well? Because
Yeah,
then they can finally manage corporations without the interface that they have at the moment. Speaking of which, I think this was touched somewhere else, but just to go over it for anybody who hasn't read the forums, because I know there are many people out there who don't do that, more roles for Dust, especially relating to things around districts.
say what now?
More corporation roles, especially
Ah,
relating to
corporation
things about
rules.
districts. Yes, because I think
So,
at the moment it's going to be you have to be a director to interact with like
or the
changing
CEO.
timers or the C, yeah, director or CEO to do things like move clones or change things. But giving somebody that much power is generally bad if it
Hilarity
is.
ensues.
Yeah, this
So,
is the
and we
way in which corporation thefts usually happens. You give the wrong guy director roles and then
This is the
nicks
way
off
that
the good
someone
stuff.
steals 600 billion ISK from an EVE Online nullsec alliance.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so roles is something we want to look at. We talked about this in the video cast that we did on April the 2nd, and we talked about it a bit there. And I'll repeat what we said there, which is we are well aware of the needs, of this need that people need this kind of thing. So we're well aware of it. Again, it comes down to a prioritization thing. It's something we really want to do, and there's if you're a Dust player coming to FanFest, please pay attention to the round tables is what I will say, and talk to us.
Anyway, thank you very much for coming on the cast, CCP Foxfour. It's been a pleasure having you. We hope to speak
Thank
with
you for
you
having
at
me.
FanFest and possibly even having you on the hopefully live from Harper, Cast 5 and 4. Depend all things going to plan and us getting green lights and things like that. Otherwise, live from Iceland in our accommodation, which you probably won't be able to feature on. But we look forward to seeing you at FanFest. Thank you very much for coming on. We're looking forward to causing terrible, horrible things to your Planetary Conquest baby that you've been working on.
You guys are gonna ruin it.
Yes,
You
we
guys are
are.
gonna ruin it, aren't you?
Absolutely.
You're all gonna ruin it.
Absolutely. You're going to be day 3, and it will just be a pile of ashes.
I'm glad FanFest is before the release because then none of you will see me with like patches of hair torn out of my head, gray hair, and all that nonsense.
But I'm sure that
Anyways,
somebody in the office will take pictures and share them.
oh boy.
Yes, Nellerbor will have pictures.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
All right, I
That's all
have
right.
one final question for you before you
Uh-oh.
go.
Uh-oh.
Do you know
You
where
just
your
can't have it,
shoes are?
Do I know where my shoes are? Wait,
Oh,
wait. One sec. You haven't been talking to Fozzie, have you? No. He's
Maybe.
gone. What? No, what do you mean maybe? One sec, I'm taking my headset off. I'll be right back. Okay, no, my shoes are still there. We're good. I actually got up from my desk and like looked out into the hallway and made sure my shoes were still by the front door. Yes, I know where my shoes are. You really had me worried there. I was like, wait,
oh,
Fozzie, did Fozzie take my shoes?
oh, that's brilliant.
You're an evil, horrible person.
It reminds me of who was it? It was Genza, wasn't it? That you had found a note saying Nova was here.
Oh, Nellerbor got one too a while ago.
Yeah, another
Yeah.
one you got one too.
And
On
I
his,
believe CCP Wolfman got one as well.
yeah, people have been these
You get
notes.
around there, Nova.
I do.
Nova Nova has many places. Nova has many
Well,
faces.
cool. I am personally going to the office and work on stuff. So I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you very much. We'll see you then.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, so one last bit of news before we cut this cast short. For people who haven't been reading the forums or other media sites, they have announced the date for the next upcoming build, as you've heard being talked about, which is May 6th, which we've been referencing several times during this cast. And May 6th is when the next expansion for Dust is coming, featuring all
Cool.
kinds of nifty stuff
Like Planetary Conquest.
like Planetary Conquest. We believe there's going to be increased player counts, so we'll have up to 24 versus 24 in the public matches and 16 versus 16 in the corporation matches in Planetary Conquest. We will also have pretty much every visual effect is actually apparently being redone and remastered slightly, so
Oh,
everything is going to be, yeah,
look at the videos. Just go look at them,
and
and
look at
that's
the new
basically what we're getting.
videos, and they've released a bunch of new screenshots and stuff floating around the internet, so search around for those and you can see all the pretty things.
The scrambler, the scrambler rifle, plasma cannon, flaylock pistol, just to name a few. And there's some more suits and all sorts of other wonderful gear, as well as some big skill changes.
Yes. Well, allegedly. Well, the stuff on Sissy is generally not always a good indicator of what will actually show up in the live build. So
Yes,
if
as
you,
always, keep your magic crystal balls close.
yes, don't count those chickens before they hatch. It's a nice indicator of what they're thinking of doing. But
So we'll see you guys next time.
yes, until next time, goodbye. Oh shit, we should have asked Foxfour what we wanted to call this.
Bacon wrapped jalapeno peppers?